What's up guys, it's the real Zaki back at it with another video, and I want you guys to make sure you watch this video all the way through. Okay, so essentially if you follow what's in this video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be breaking down exactly the fastest way on how to scale your Shopify store this holiday season, exactly capitalize on exactly what's going to be taking place. And this means this high traffic, when people are searching, people are really ready to spend money, okay? So essentially, make sure you watch the video all the way through. Make sure you implement on the stuff. And I know, if you like the video or whatever, if you find some type of valuable information, definitely drop a thumbs up and definitely subscribe. Okay, so essentially, it's the real Zaki. Boom, now the intro's over. We've never done a whiteboard video, so let me get straight into it, okay? So essentially, a lot of you guys have had your first sales, your second sales, your third sales, following specific techniques and tactics, okay? But there's been a few milestones and things that really stop you guys, right? So really your growth has been like something like this, right? And it just stays there, where essentially you want it to be like this, right? You want it to be all the way up there and then kind of go up from there and just really scale and really get to the next level, okay? So now realizing, hey, my growth isn't where I want it to be. Now I gotta switch up kind of my formula, right? And I've broken down this formula many and multiple times, essentially. So I know I preach, and there's a reason I preach this. Hey, start with Instagram influencers. First off, it has a set cost. There is no cost that's fluctuating. There's really no, as long as you do your research, and we're gonna be going over that. And essentially, if you make sure and vet that your Instagram influencer is working, what are the requirements essentially? Just want to make sure followers ratio, right, activity essentially. And how do you gauge activity? You want to look at views, you want to use tools like flanks, and I've gone over this in other videos essentially, Social Blade, and you want to use these tools to make sure that it's legit, right? The page that you're using is legit. So now that we've gotten past the whole pain point of, is my page legit? How do I make sure? There's millions of videos out there doing that and elaborating and going over that. We want to focus more on the strategy behind it, right? So essentially, once we realize, hey, we could either go to Facebook and start using the $5 a day method, like a lot of people preach. It really isn't my cup of tea, because there's one epiphany that I had and it took me a while, is that why does Facebook at the end of the day is a huge platform. They know what's best for us, right? Essentially, we trust Facebook whenever we want ads, essentially, right? Why do they set our budget at $20 on auto? If you've been a part of the Facebook ads family for a long time, you'll know that it hasn't always been $20 a day. That essentially it rose over quite some time, right? Now realizing, hey, why do they set it at that? Because they know what they need essentially to optimize and start making money, okay? So now knowing that, there's this thing, I'm gonna kind of go over some things. There's this thing called the Facebook ad fund, and raise your hand if you've donated to the Facebook ad fund, where essentially you've paid for Facebook ads but you never made any money back. Raise your hand. I know I'm guilty, you're guilty, everybody's guilty of doing it at one point, sometime in their life, right? So that's why I'm saying I love Instagram influencers, because if you can make sure you find a legit page in a specific niche, you can pay a flat fee of maybe, let's say hypothetical, $50, right? And reach your specific audience without going out there and targeting interest, and you can skip that whole process, right? So let's say we want, hypothetically, dogs. We go out there and go on IG and we find some dog niche, or let's say we have a more realistic thing and we don't go after theme pages. As you guys know, there's two kinds of pages, right? There's theme pages, and then there's actual influencers, personalized pages, like a face behind a page, for example. The Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, right? Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Steve Carroll, right? These people are personalized influencers. They have faces behind their pages, right? And then theme pages being, for example, these meme pages that you see all the time that have hundreds of thousands of followers, but that might not be as valuable just based on the value that they bring to their consumer, okay? Let me bring this a little closer so you guys can definitely see this stuff. So essentially, once we realize, hey, we know Instagram has a lot of value, we want to go to Instagram and be like, we want to pay them for a shout out. Essentially, what happens when you pay somebody for a shout out? You pay them, obviously, you want to go through the whole rigorous strategies of making sure you pay with business and services so you don't get scammed, so you're always protected, so you're good there. Then once you find a legit page, everything's clear, you do your research and you shout out your product, and your product makes a certain amount of sales, right? And this is what we're going to call sales. There's this thing on your site called your pixel, right? And your pixel starts to become seasoned, okay? Once your pixel starts to become seasoned, it starts to collect data, and there's multiple different kinds of data it starts to collect, ranging from the view content to checkout to initiated checkout to purchase. There's so many pieces of information that it essentially collects, right? But we're focused on a few of these, right? Because first off, you got to realize that at the end of the day, we paid a flat fee for reaching our exact audience. So we're already ahead of the curve because we didn't start with interest targeting, we didn't test, we didn't have to spend $100 and find out it wasn't working. We went directly to the source. We knew where the people of interest that were interested in our product or whatever it is that we're selling, where they are, and went directly to them. We skipped the whole middleman of Facebook finding those people for us, right? And one thing that I realized essentially is, first off, that our pixel starts to collect this data, right? And let's say we got 100 sales off of whatever, and this is all hypothetical numbers, because one thing we want to realize is if this works, we want to always 10x the effort, okay? You always want to multiply by 10 whatever effort that you did to get you to where you are today, okay? That's something that a lot of people skip over, okay? So essentially, once we go over and find that, hey, this Instagram influencer's worked, we want to duplicate that process and definitely get to about 100 sales. And our pixel is seasoned, obviously. Our conversion rate is 100%. So we've gotten enough checkouts. We've gotten a bunch of data, essentially. And that's really what it comes down to. And this is a saying that I recently came up with, is let the data speak. Right? Let the data speak. It's probably one of the most important sayings that I'll probably live by forever is once you realize, hey, my pixel's seasoned, that's when you can go over to something like Facebook and start implementing specific strategies, right? So right off the bat, I hope you guys, this makes sense and you guys understand this whole process. Let me kind of go over what you would do when you get to Facebook, okay? So first off, right off the bat, we're never gonna stop doing Instagram influencers. We're always gonna keep it going, right? We're multiplying this, right? We're gonna be doing this on multiple facets. We're gonna kind of scale this to as much as we can. So we're always making money here. But how do we scale it so where our money makes money for us while we're sleeping, while without communicating? That's where something like Facebook comes in. This is the pixels already collected the data, right? This is where something Facebook comes in, and essentially you got to realize we have two options now. We can start creating lookalike audiences based on the information that we've gotten, which is insanely powerful just based on the reason, hey, we don't have to go out there and start testing these $5 a day strategies because we went directly to the source of where these fans are. Because one thing is people follow a page out of willingness, right? And it's not surprise marketing, okay? So once we realize, hey, it isn't surprise marketing, we're having more of this referral kind of marketing. That's where we made a decent sum of money. Second, I'm not using my own money. One thing I always like to preach is make sure your Shopify store pays for itself. That's one of the biggest things. If your Shopify store is self-sustaining, that's the greatest thing. So let's say we generated X amount of dollars. We're plugging that money straight into here, right? And that's where something like lookalike audiences comes in. Retargeting your actual people that came to your checkout, your add to carts, and essentially all of those things. Once you start retargeting those people, you want to retarget in specific manners, okay? So, for example, somebody comes and adds to cart, and let's say hypothetically 1,000 people came and added to your cart, and your drop off was 95%, your conversion rate was 5%, which is insanely still great, right? What was their reason for dropping off? There's a few reasons that could have took place. They could have dropped off for price, they could have dropped off because they don't trust you, they could have dropped off because they don't think the product is great. Well, one thing that I found super beneficial is I'll start retargeting using testimonials, right? And this is for some high-level stuff. This isn't definitely not for anybody, so I'll retarget using testimonials. I'll split test those testimonials and things like that. But one thing I want you guys to understand when it comes to something like Facebook and you're creating your creative, right? One thing is once you start creating your lookalike audience and start to scale and start duplicating ad sets, we can go in depth. There's a lot of Facebook gurus out there. I'm not by any means a Facebook guy. definitely focus on influencers and definitely have made a lot of money using influencers, but definitely this is where the scale comes in. But one thing to realize is that essentially one thing that I found very beneficial is I'll create different creatives for different demographics, right? For example, I'll make references in specific creatives and I'll split test different creatives for specific people, right? I will not use the same marketing for the 65-year-old that I would use for the 26-year-old, even though they're potential customers. That's what my lookalike audience created. I would split test them and I would segment them and show them different creatives, because I know, hey, this is going to relate more to this person, that's going to relate to that more to that person. And that's something that you want to keep in mind and definitely realize, hey, if I personalize this experience for the consumer, I'm able to squeeze as much cash out of it possible, okay? So I hope that made sense. I hope you guys can utilize this technique and make something happen, because essentially one thing I love about this strategy is it doesn't take much money. You can start with $50, start small scale influencer, move your way up 75, and great thing is you could just reinvest the money that you've made, right? It's not like Facebook where you're plugging in $20, but Facebook eventually is the goal, and you definitely start to scale and definitely take it to the next level, right? So essentially, I hope you guys found this valuable. I hope you guys are excited for the content that I'm bringing. October 27th, 0 to 100K 30-day challenge. I'm going to be releasing it October 27th. Just be on the lookout. I'm going to be mentioning that every single day. I hope you guys are excited for it. I hope you guys are ready. 0 to 100K in 30 days. I'm going to be documenting it. I'm going to be recording it, showing you guys every single thing. It's never happened. It's never been done. I'm going to be the first to do it, and I'm excited to have you guys along with me on the journey. Essentially, I hope you guys found this video very valuable. I hope you guys are ready for all the content that's to come every single day. And then also, every Sunday, we're going to be having store reviews, okay? I'm going to be giving the exact time. We're going to be having them at 5 p.m., actually 6 p.m. EST, every single Sunday, okay? Store reviews every single Sunday. Make sure you send me a DM. Make sure you're live for that. Be reviewing maybe 20, 30 stores. Live store reviews. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're not square. Make sure you're aware. You feel me? So we're going to be dropping some fire content every single day. I hope you guys are excited. Peace out. I'll see you guys later.